I care about you. So do I worry that you are going to lose money on Bitcoin? The answer is no. I don't worry about that, but I want you to understand why I don't worry about that. And I'm going to start with a story. So back when I was in the world of politics and public policy, serving 8 years in the House of Representatives, I ran multiple campaigns for lots of different things. I've never lost a political campaign. And I've spent many millions of dollars of my own money trying to make the world a better place in the world of politics and public policy. Well, there was one specific campaign I was working on, and I needed to spend a lot more money, in this case about $2 million more than I had budgeted for a campaign. It was just, the campaign was ridiculously over budget for a bunch of reasons. And I was talking to one of the best advisors in the entire world about what I was doing. And this person was pro bono. They were advising me for free. They had no economic stake in what they advised me to do. But ultimately, their recommendation was that I spend the extra $2 million to guarantee that the campaign would be successful. And I ultimately, because my wife is amazing, and she said yes and agreed, we ultimately spent the extra $2 million to guarantee a win, even though that money effectively would just wipe out our finances. I mean, it was going to take an absolute wrecking ball to our personal finances to fund that additional $2 million on top of what we had already put in that campaign. And I knew that, and I knew that I was radically altering our life trajectory by making that decision. But I did anyway, because what I was trying to do was so important to me that I felt like it was just something, it was a hill I was willing to die on. And even if it meant I was going to have to work a whole lot harder for the rest of my life. Now, Bitcoin has been very good to me. So my lifestyle and financial means are in a much, much, much better place than they would be without Bitcoin. But that was still a brutal financial decision to have to make back then. Well, ultimately, the campaigns were successful. We got what we wanted. It wasn't necessarily exactly how we thought we were going to get it, but we ultimately won in the end and accomplished our objective. And so a couple years later, I was sitting down with this individual who had, again, they worked pro bono. They were an expert at these sort of things nationwide. And I asked them, I said, were you ever worried that I was going to, that was going to be a poor use of my capital? That spending that extra $2 million, were you ever worried about that you were going to feel bad that I had spent that money and did not get the outcome I wanted? And he said, no. He said, I was never worried. During that entire campaign, he said, I was never worried that your money would be poorly spent. And I said, why? I mean, I was spending millions of dollars in something that had never been done before. I was like, how are you so certain? And his answer was, he said, Joel, I've been around politics so many decades, and I've seen so many things that I just knew with absolute certainty that the way you were going about doing what you were doing and what you wanted to accomplish, I just knew you were going to ultimately be successful in the end. Again, we didn't know exactly how we would win, in what way, what setbacks we might experience, but he ultimately said, I knew that if you spent that extra $2 million, you were going to win. I knew you were going to win. And he said, I just wasn't worried about it. So why do I tell you this story? Well, I tell you this story because I feel the same way about his advice about how I should use my capital that I feel about my advice with regard to telling you I think Bitcoin is a fantastic investment. Now, this is not financial advice, not legal advice, not accounting advice, not tax advice, not investment advice, not any sort of advanced investment or financial advice. This is just one person's opinion. But I think Bitcoin is a fantastic investment, and I am not worried about you losing money on Bitcoin. And the reason for that is I have spent thousands of hours researching not only Bitcoin, but researching every conceivable bad thing that could happen to Bitcoin or to people that hold Bitcoin to make sure that that does not happen to you. Obviously, I have 100% of my assets in Bitcoin, and so it's very important to me that I not be wrong about that. But it also is very important to me that all of the people that I know and that I love, I'm not wrong about that either. If I am wrong about Bitcoin, a huge percentage of the people that I know and love are going to have a massive financial setback. I mean, a huge number. Now, that includes all of my siblings, my extended family. I lost both my parents to cancer, so thankfully they will have no impact from Bitcoin one way or the other. They are in heaven where Bitcoin is not used because money is not used because there is no scarcity in heaven. And you only need money in a world where there is scarcity. And heaven is not a place that there is scarcity. So my parents right now are both in heaven. as a result of losing battles with cancer here on this earth when I was in my 20s. And they don't have to worry about Bitcoin. They don't have to worry about money. They're not going to lose or gain one way or the other. They live in a beautiful world where money is not a thing. But the rest of us down here, a huge percentage of the people I know and love would have a massive financial setback if something bad ultimately happened to Bitcoin. But again, I have spent thousands of hours researching every conceivable aspect of Bitcoin and every conceivable bad thing that could happen to Bitcoin. And I have the same level of certainty that nothing bad is going to happen to you with your Bitcoin investment that this political advisor had with me when he recommended I spend additional capital on the stuff I was doing in politics and public policy. His conviction came from a huge amount of experience and a huge amount of knowledge. My conviction on Bitcoin comes from a huge amount of experience and a huge amount of knowledge. And again, I would not go way out on a limb like this. I would not record 500 Facebook videos. I would not coach and help every single person I know onboard Bitcoin. I would not give away for free tens of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin if I did not deeply in my heart and soul believe I was benefiting every single person that heard the message of Bitcoin and took action on it. Everything I do for free, and everything I do costs me money. So I'm not just doing it for free. It costs me, Bitcoin advocacy has cost me a huge amount of money because I give away so much Bitcoin for free and I employ so many people to help me in various aspects of Bitcoin education and onboarding. So my conviction is the same as the conviction of my advisors and mentors throughout my life who have advised me to do big and bold things and have assured me that I could safely do those big and bold things based on the experience they had. And again, there's a very small number of people I trust to make huge decisions in the world, but those people have been right. And I have accomplished huge things in this world, and I'm thankful I did. I'm thankful I had the courage to do the things I have done so far. So I think Bitcoin is a fantastic investment. I think it's the future, currency of the world, the future reserve currency of the world. I think ultimately most of us will end up transacting with Bitcoin most of the time. And I think in general, for everyone, Bitcoin will outperform everything else they could possibly put their capital in. And again, that is based on just thousands and thousands of hours. I have read every book against Bitcoin. I've read every book against blockchain technology. Every book that's been written that has a negative critique of Bitcoin or any of its underlying fundamentals, I have read, trying to figure out if I'm missing something, to make sure that not only am I not making a bad decision for my finances, but that you are not making a bad decision for your finances. So I sleep great at night with complete peace. The only way you can lose money on Bitcoin is if you sell it for less than you bought it for. And if you are prudent in your financial management, you can make sure you don't do that. And I am have such a deep conviction of what the future of Bitcoin will be that I'm just not worried that it's going to perform badly for you. Again, as long as you buy as much of it as you can and hold on to it for as long as conceivably possible, which has been my advice from the very beginning. If you do that, I have a very high degree of conviction and a peace and calm that it will be the best thing that you do with any type of your money or your wealth or your investments.